back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, then welcome, it's lovely to meet you. And if you're already existing, then hello guys, welcome back. Let's push the camera back a little bit as well so we can see what we're actually doing today. I'm Rosie Henshaw, and today's video is going to be like a little quick alterations of clothes. Now don't get me wrong, I've not got the sewing machine out, I've not got needle and thread out. This is quick alterations. Now, I'm a curvy girl and I have quite a large bust, and I like wearing t-shirts and I like them to look quite trendy, but I feel like when I put a t-shirt on, it just makes me look really chunky, don't flatten me in the right places and just looks a bit awkward. And I also find, because I'm 5'2", I am quite short. Now, I feel like short jeans are in a little bit of a small demand. Like, they don't have a lot in there, so they must be in high demand in the shops. But there are some really nice jeans, and they don't do them in a short option, and I want them to fit me like across the ankle like they would on everybody else. So you can stitch them up, but I'm just going to show you how I cut all of my jeans at the bottom of the jeans and sort of distress them. And I've also got a jumper, so I've got a t-shirt, a jumper and jeans today. All you're going to need is a sharp pair of scissors. Now, please don't let me make you laugh. These are my old hairdressing scissors. Now, my mum has bought me some new fabric cutting scissors. Those were meant to come down at the weekend with her, and she completely forgot to bring them. And my kids have made all my scissors in the house completely blunt because I just cut paper and make crafts all the time. So these are my really old hairdressing scissors, but still extremely sharp. So you're not going to need to use hairdressing scissors. And if you're going to use these on someone's hair, then don't use them cutting your clothes. These are just an old pair, so I'm going to use them. You're going to need some kind of pencil. You can get fabric scissors, even in Home Bargains, in like where the haberdashery section is, Wilkinson's, The Range. You get some really nice fabric scissors quite cheap. You don't need a tailor's chalk or like a dressmaking chalk or pencil. You can just use a dark pencil, as long as it's kind of quite smudgy, if that makes sense. I can't explain. As long as it's going to draw on the fabric, a dark colour. This is for the jeans. And a cheese grater. Now, you're probably thinking, Rosie, are you making some kind of food, cutting people's hair and drawing a little picture? No, this is what I'm going to use to cut my clothes with. This is what I do all my clothes with, and they all come out quite well. I will tell you, you can stitch a few of the items, and I'll tell you what you can do with that as it comes on, but I never bother. So grab yourselves a nice little cup of tea. Mine's in my little Fern for Cath Kitson mug, and I've got Pepsi. No word of a lie, genuinely just got another little Pepsi. I was off it for ages, but I'm back into the Pepsi scene. So, the first things I'm going to show you is a t-shirt. Now, I've got a vest on, some Spanx, because I'm going to be trying on some jeans after, and I want a little bit of dignity. So, I've got this lovely t-shirt gifted to me by boohoo.com, and that was in my Boohoo try-on haul on Friday. Now, I love this t-shirt, I absolutely love the stain on the front of it. If you have curves, flaunt them. Now, it's quite a nice t-shirt, it fits all right on the body, and it probably doesn't look that terrible, but I just feel like it just really cuts me off. It comes up really high, I'm not really feeling it, and I feel like when you haven't got makeup on or your hair tied up on your head, it just looks even worse. It just really looks like, I don't know, I'm waiting for a ride in a theme park, that kind of like teenage vibe, and it just doesn't look right. So what I like to do on all of my tops like this is I like to give it kind of an off-the-shoulder scoop. So in order to do that, I will flatten out my t-shirt. When I say flatten out my t-shirt, I'll just make sure that the seam at the top is straight before I start cutting. And then make sure that the bottom seams, drop your pencil, make sure it's all straight. It's best to lay these down on the table, but make sure that it's completely folded on the line that it's meant to be folded, otherwise you're going to end up with a weird shape around the neck. So like on the seam. Now, on the t-shirt, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to get the camera off and I'm going to show you, I'm going to try and attempt to show you this way. I've got all the stuff on the table ready. So on this t-shirt, what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to keep one side, which I want on my shoulder here, and I'm going to make sure I mark off about an inch away from the hem, like from the neck collar. And I'm just going to bring it round, keeping the inch exactly the same all the way round from this part here, keeping it an inch. And as I get to like 3/4 of the way up, I'm then just going to verge out to 2 inches. So from that point, it's an inch away, just verge out to 2 inches, and I'm going to cut that in front of you and you'll be able to see what I'm on about. Sorry, read my palms if you want. Look, all my little lifelines and stuff. No one tell me I'm going to die next week, please. That'd just be really awkward. Right, what can I lean on? Not thought this through very well, have I? Well, I'm just going to cut and show you what I'm doing anyway. You'll see what I mean, because you'll see the shape of it before and then you'll see the shape of it after. So I'm just going to cut an inch away. Go nice and slow. My goodness, these hairdressing scissors are lovely to cut through the fabric. I could literally not be cutting through the fabric right now, couldn't I? And you wouldn't even know. And now I'm at the 3/4 point and I'm just gonna verge off to like 2, maybe 2.5 inches. And there's a little tag in there, so I'll cut that out. So then I'm left with a top that looks more like that. So it's kind of like on the shoulder here and it scoops off. Now also with the sleeves, you've got, now with the stitching, you can stitch, see this little section here where the stitching meets at the top as it comes up to here, where you've cut, you can stitch a little stitch there and a little stitch there to keep it in place. I find you could pull on that all day long and that's not going to unravel or fray. None of this frays, it's quite well made, so yeah, not going to do that. Also on the arms, I feel like the arm lengths, I feel like where they're square, they cut me off. So what I tend to do is yet again, I'll follow the guide of the stitch where the line is, but I will keep it about 1 centimetre away from the top of the one, so the top part of the sleeve, I have about 1 centimetre away, and then I'll gradually come into about 2 centimetres as I go down. You don't have to do that if you don't want. I'm going to try it on and see what we think of the neckline anyway first, because I might not even need to cut the sleeves. It's always best, I think, once the neckline's cut, you can sort of see how you'd feel about it anyway. So like you could have it as an off the shoulder type top. I just feel like it makes it look a little bit more flattering on my shape. You could have a little vest on underneath this, you don't necessarily have to have it like that. But say you was having it off the shoulder. Now rather than cutting the sleeves, you could even roll the sleeves a little bit if you wanted to. They'd look quite nice. You could even cut the bottom of this, because this is a little bit clingy around the bottom. I could trim this a tiny bit, make this a bit shorter. But I quite like the style it is, and I'm thinking now it's coming lower on my shoulder, I actually like the length of the sleeve, and I quite like the sleeve like that. So I'm going to leave it, and look, it's just off the shoulder, cut quickly, nothing miracle work into it, just that's how I cut all my t-shirts. And like you say, you don't need stitching, but the best way to sort of tell is to sort of get the top bit of the stitch, inside out again. Get your top stitch around the neck, and where the stitch is here, give it a little tug, and if it don't sort of unravel and undo, then you're not going to need, and none of this will fray. So there's my t-shirt. Really quick and easy. I hope no one's watching this thinking, oh, I'm going to get like life making, dressmaking skills, because it really isn't. But it's what I do to cut t-shirts, because I sometimes feel like I used to feel a little bit left out. My friends would buy t-shirts and they look amazing in t-shirts and jeans, and I would look really weird in them. So just altering them a little bit, a little pair of hairdressing scissors, use proper scissors, then yeah, it comes out really fine. Really fine. So now we're moving on to the t-shirt, jumper. Now this jumper, yet again, was gifted to me by Boohoo. That was from my Boohoo haul. Sorry, Boohoo. But yet again, now it's just a prime example of these online companies that sell really reasonable price clothing. Sometimes they have things that you don't like on them. If you can buy them cheap enough and you know they're going to look nice once you alter them, what's the issue? I'm going to push my bench out again. So this jumper, I look like Miss Trunchbull in it. It's way too high up the neck. It cringes in here, like cringes in. What's cringes? it pulls in here, the bottom waistband, and the arms are quite large, and then it comes in again, and I think this makes it look even bigger. So yet again, I'm going to do the same thing around the neckline. I'm going to make this an off the shoulder again. Ooh. And I'm going to do the same concept. Now you can just do it 2 inches away the whole way round, but I find that it falls off both shoulders. I feel like to keep that nice look and have it actually on and just being off the shoulder, it still scoops it out, but by keeping this a bit closer to the natural hem and then gradually verging out lower, it's kind of like a one off the shoulder. You could cut it completely straight across and have it a complete off the shoulder, but I feel like where it's a t-shirt that's not designed to be like that, it ends up looking really tight and straight over my boobs. So obviously try and have a little look around with what you're doing. So yet again, this is the neckline on it, really high up, and I'm going to want to cut it about an inch away from that last little bit of the stitch. Round again, follow it round so it's exactly an inch away, all the way round. You can draw this on and then verge out again to 2 inches, so that's about 2 inches away when you're about 3/4 round. And I'm going to cut it again. And I'm not even going to need to lay this flat because I'm quite a dab hand at cutting my t-shirts now. I'll put it... So I'm just keeping, as you can see, it's literally an inch, but I'm going to try and keep that inch the whole way round. Keep the fabric together so you don't get a weird pattern. Hear my dishwasher on in the background. Right, now I'm 3/4 the way up. And I've got that last bit here. This is where I'm going to use this point and join it to about 2 inches away there. So I'm going to just veer out now, slowly at an angle, to bring it out, so that that bit there is roughly about 2 inches from the last stitch here. Now this, oh, my little fat thumb's got stuck in the scissors. So now this may well need a little stitch. It doesn't, but on this jumper, because they've done an internal stitch, you're left with this little thread. So pull it straight and then just join them two bits together by trimming that. So you're not left with no little bobbles. You got the same again a little bit on here, just a tiny bit. It's where they've done an understitch. That's probably not the proper correct term, but I know what I mean. So I'm going to put this on, see what it looks like with the neckline, if I'm happy with the neckline, because you can always alter this, take off less and then take more off as you go along so that you're left with something that you like. So I'm liking the off the shoulder part of this, but I feel like this band needs to come off because this is just restricting it, making it look more bulky in the belly area. So with this, I keep all of these the right side way out, but now I'm going to inside out this because I am just going to cut off the exact band. I'm not going to cut off extra just at the band, so I'm going to inside out this, and then you will see where the stitch was on the inside, and I'm going to cut along this line, so not where the actual steel band is, just along the line of the, like above the stitch, or below the way I'm showing you. I'll show you one sec. I'm getting like Coke bubbles now. So I've just broke the little like bit like that, cut through, and I'm just going to cut this stitch section away, cutting along it nice and straight. I feel like this is the best way to just cut the band off. Alternatively, you don't want to do it like that, you can just do it the right way in. I prefer to do it the way that I was just showing you because then it literally just gets rid of the band. But you can do it like this. It's just where it's such a large band, it's difficult that you're going to actually get it straight. So when you inside out that, look how nice and straight that is. It's literally just where the threading was. Now I'll go over. But you can lay this flat. You can't bother to do all that malarkey. And you can just cut across the bottom. Straight across. Take it up a bit thingy. This is a bit ruched actually. So that's what I was saying. Maybe not. But I'll do that quickly because I don't want to be 20 minutes on just one jumper. So I'll get on to the best bit, which is jeans. I love customising my jeans. Absolutely love it. If there's a pair of jeans and they don't do them ripped for me, like a ripped version, I do them myself. If they have like jeans but they have them in a tall section, like sometimes I'll go into like Topshop and they'll have like a sale on in like my favourite jeans. And then, or like Primark, they'll have my favourite jeans but they won't have them in the short section. And they'll only sell them in the tall. Well, it don't matter if they do them in the tall because then you can just trim the bottom of them. You can sew them up if you want a sewn finish on the bottom of them. I never do, because I quite like that sort of like raw bottom. So then we're left with a straight bottom. Now with this fleece material, I'm just going to check, no, that's not going to undo, neither is that stitch. These will start to roll up. This sort of thick jersey, like jumper material, it will start to do a tiny roll, so it won't fray, but it will roll where you cut it. So if you want to stitch it, you can. But this is just going to be like a really nice, comfy jumper for me to wear. Now the sleeves need to be addressed because they are, I think, like if these hems come off, so I'm just going to get the cuff straight, and then I'm just going to cut the cuff off as well. I'm going to take it about an inch away, just to make it a bit shorter as well, because I don't want it that long. So, about an inch off. I'm going to do the same with this one. I feel like an inch is quite a safe, because you can see the line. It's quite a safe cut, do you know what I mean? You can sort of like see where you're going and make sure you're going straight. And I'm gonna roll these. This is just gonna be like a casual jumper that I might wear if it's a bit chilly indoors, like loungewear, a bit cleaning. But it's better to save a jumper and actually have it for something that you're gonna use it for, rather than waste it and throw it away because you don't like the shape. And already it's took these arms and made them look a little bit less silly. And I'm just going to roll it out, get a little fold, and I'm much more happy with this jumper, and I'll wear this. And if I had my hair tied up or whatever, I'm not going to feel over the top bulky in it. I could wear a little pair of trainers with this on the school run, a little vest underneath. So we're done. And you could all you could make some nice necklaces from your leftovers. Got your little leftover bits, your little sleeves. And my little waistband on the bottom, so get rid of them. And I'm actually going to wear them now, as I wouldn't have worn them the way they were before. So now I'm on to jeans. These were also gifted from Boohoo. Now these jeans are absolutely amazing. These jeans are bum shaper jeans, and they're fantastic, and I absolutely love them. I'm going to put them on so you can see the length. Now I'm not unhappy with the length. It's just I prefer a type of length jeans that look like they're kind of just cutting on the ankle. So you can kind of see like my knicker lines in these, and I've got like bulky knickers on underneath the Spanx. Got to be done. Got to love a pair of granny knickers, haven't you? It really like lift your bum. These jeans really make it look perky, and I don't have that little triangle under my bum. Never. It's just like a weird square blancmange. So these are quite nice jeans. I'm going to stand on the bench, put the Spanx up, so you can see what I mean about the length. Now the length of these jeans is, it comes, where my ankle is here, it comes sort of like a bit longer than my ankle. So when I'm wearing trainers, this is going to overlap the trainers. So really, I like the ankle grazer jeans where the bottom of them comes above the ankle, so that when I wear trainers, you can see that tiny little bit of ankle and it don't look weird. So what I'll do is, you can either fold that, or where did my little drop pencil go? So I'll get another one out. Or a pen. Does this pen work? No? Keep it out, so I've got to put that back. The kids, what are you doing? Right, so I've got a dark grey pencil. And I'm just going to draw roughly on one leg where I want the jeans to go. So I'll feel for my ankle, and I'll just do like a really dark line so I'll be able to see that. And I'm going to take my jeans off. This is the most like slapdash video ever, but I'm going to try it all on at the end, and it will look much better. And you'll go, Rosie, yeah, do you know what? Actually, cutting it did make a difference. It did make it a bit better. It's quite fun as well to have a little bit of an alteration. So, these are my jeans. Right, so I can see the line is there. So I'm going to get them straight, so get the hem straight, nice and straight, so it's like hem to hem. And then just cut where the line is, cut it straight across. The bottom. I'm actually starting to get hiccups. thought it might be like bubbles from the Pepsi, but it's not. So now you don't do it on both legs, measure it out. What you do is once you've cut one of the legs, you fold. So do your button. Sorry guys, that was my battery just dying, so I've had to go over. So yeah, you've got your button done up. So just fold your jeans. Fold your jeans up. Make sure they're really aligned properly. You don't want one leg bit longer than the other. Measure them out, make sure they're all straight. I've tried them on, they've gone a bit funny. I've gone all creasy. And then you'll get your line, so you want it cut the same length as that. Alternatively, what you could just do is place this little piece that you've cut off on top of the piece that you haven't cut and use that as a guide, and then just cut against that line. I just find it easy to do it with the trousers. So then, once I've laid it down, then cut this little piece off. Ooh. Now, lots of jeans are just cut and left rough edges. Now you could, if you wanted these to be shorter, but you wanted these to have a stitched bottom, so you still wanted the stitched bottom like this, then the length you will cut off, you only cut off half of what you want cut off, and then you fold the other half over and then stitch along the bottom, and you can give yourself a finished stitch. So for instance, if I use it on this, well, you know, what am I going to try and use? Right, so these are my jeans that I had on. It's super frayed. But if I wanted them cut to here, like up this high, but I wanted it stitched, I wouldn't cut to here like I would do normally if I just leave it raw. I'd cut to there, then fold that last little remaining piece under and stitch along the line, if that makes sense, to keep it neat. So mine are just straight edges. They're nice length. I know they're going to be a nice length because I've drawn them out. These always work for me. But I don't like them being left like that. I like them to have a tiny bit of a frayed edge, but I feel like when you get new jeans, they have the most crap, sorry for my language, it's terrible, the most terrible, like, frayed edge on the bottom. It's not very great. You can tell it's just been cut. They're not the greatest. So what I like to do is get a cheese grater, and the really, really fine side that you get, I just swirl the bottoms of my jeans up, rolled up like that at the bottom, and with the cheese grater, I just ruffle them up like that with a cheese grater, and then you have a proper fray. And you can cut a few of them threads off and then give it another go with the cheese grater again. It gives it a really good finish. I'm going to do it again. And if you make any rips on the knees and you want them then to go like that, it makes a better fray on the bottom. So I'm just going to do that rather than leaving them just raw. Raw? They're not meat rosy. Just with the cheese grater, and it really makes a really nice effect. It's a bit messy on your table, but that's fine. And they look like how they would do after a good few washes once you've worn them in. And now I'm going to try them on so you can see the length of these now. Now if you want to make like cuts on the knees and stuff, just cut straight across and then use your cheese grater idea, or you could just rub the jean without cutting it on it to give like the little rips and tears. But I'm not distressing these jeans, I just like the hem to be distressed, like the bottom. Oh, kick the bench. What's that when you die? Kick the bucket in it. Oh god, not kicking the bucket. How has that even worked? They done up a minute ago, now they're not doing up. It's like McDonald's from last night. It's like, I'm going on now. You're gonna gain the weight right this second. Right, so now the length of the jeans is exactly where I want them above the ankle. And then it really, I'm not standing on, yeah I am. I am standing on my table there, better not. So then you get a really nice little frayed edge, they're straight, they're where I want them to be. And with the t-shirt, I'm just really happy. It's a little outfit that I would wear. And yeah, I actually would wear it now, rather than it just sitting at the bottom of the cupboard and not using it. I'll actually wear this now, maybe tuck that in, and I'll actually wear it. And it's something that will bring in with my shape and with the jeans on the actual ankle now. So, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I've got a few videos coming up this week. I've got a home bargains haul tomorrow, and a couple of the pieces I've got, I'm going to make a really cool craft. The day after. So what day is today? Monday. Tuesday's home bargain. So Wednesday will be the craft day. And then I've got my try on Friday coming up, and I've got a special video coming up on Saturday as well. So yeah, I've got a few videos this week. So if you're not already subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell. I'm also going to link my Instagram in the bottom as well if you'd like to check that out. And yeah, take care. If I catch you for any of my other videos, then I'll see you then. And if not, bye. Take care.